Shout out to Catch Pawd.
A good defensive play for Montana State.
Touchdown, Tommy Milan is electrifying.
Welcome to the Cats Pod. What's up, Podcats? Here we are, Pick'em Pod, round 2 of the FCS playoffs. Exciting week in some ways. A lot of very lopsided matchups, though. How you feeling, Eric?
Yeah, that's really what I'm feeling. I mean, I can't wait to watch some football, but like you said, I have a feeling that if you're looking for an upset, you might not want to turn the TV on.
Yeah, it might not be your weekend for sure.
No.
One thing, if anybody has not listened to our interview with Zach Black from last night, you got to go listen to that thing because it was a very fun time talking with Zach Black.
Yeah, it was a really good one.
Also, one thing that I forgot to bring up was we were talking about Spotify Wrapped or Apple Replay, depending on what you use. And I forgot to bring up that on our podcast, Spotify Wrapped, it lists off the top 3 genres of our fan base. And I'm gonna give you a guess what the top 3 genres for our fan base are. What do you think it is?
What do you mean top 3 genres?
Genres like types of music.
For
that our
fan
fans listen to. It told me the top three genres for people that listen to our podcast.
Oh gosh. This is no specific order. I'm just going to go I'm going to go rap, country, classic rock.
Okay. So you were very close. All right. Our top one was country, number 1 country. Number 2 was, it just said rock, just all kinds of rock. And then number 3, this is the real ringer, sea shanties. Yeah.
Okay, Ben, you gotta.
Our fan base loves the
sea
shanty. A sea shanty, it's like, what do you do with a drunken sailor? What do you do with a drunken... It's songs like that. You know, they kind of were blowing up last year on Instagram and stuff. I looked at that and I just had to laugh completely because that is listeners. Hilarious. We might have to create a new intro song that's just a sea shanty about the Bobcats.
Oh my gosh.
Just for our fans.
I wasn't sure where you were going with this, but I'm glad where we ended up.
The payoff was worth it. I knew you were probably going to be a little skeptical, but I knew it was worth it the entire time.
I can't believe rap wasn't in the top 3.
Nope. No hip-hop, no rap, just country, rock, and sea shanties. That's what we're into.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. I love our listeners.
Oh,
They're
yeah,
cool.
It's perfect. Perfect.
Everybody likes to mix a little Zach Bryan with their sea shanty.
Yeah.
Followed by some Thunderstruck.
Yep. Just blow the man down and then Thunderstruck. That's what you listen to. You know?
Yeah. Should we jump in?
Yeah, let's go for it. What's the first game you got?
Let's go with Villanova Incarnate Word, huh?
Okay, Villanova Incarnate Word.
So, I feel like if there was gonna be an upset, it might be this game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not confident in saying that at all.
Yeah.
I have Incarnate Word's quarterback is legit, but if you look through Incarnate Word's schedule, they lack a real signature win.
Mm-hmm.
They really don't have one.
Yeah.
They beat a lot of teams. You know, a 10-2 record's pretty good, but they never went out there and beat a top team or really any really good teams, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So Incarnate Word is somewhat untested, but I feel like the way that with that, like, you know, that quote unquote air raid passing attack they have, I feel like they're hard to slow down.
I definitely think they're going to be very hard to slow down. I think this has all of the makings of a shootout as far as these playoffs game go. Villanova just got by on the skin of their teeth on basically a technicality. So it is very hard to be confident in them, but I also agree with a lot of the arguments you're making when it comes to Incarnate Word. I just fear that Villanova may have all those same arguments against them.
Yeah.
They haven't played against. These are both teams that haven't really played against much talent.
I'm looking at their Incarnate Word schedule right now, and I think their best win is a 38-14 win when Northern Arizona came to town.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So they kind of waxed Northern Arizona, but other than that, I mean, there isn't even another team. Southeast Louisiana was, I think, one of the first ones out, maybe.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
I believe
so.
But
they beat them by 3 points, and other than that, there's just nothing there.
There's not a lot of quality wins.
No, there's no quality wins, really. I mean, the only playoff team they played is Northern Arizona.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess they played South Dakota State, but they got totally waxed. But, yeah.
It's where it's tough to make that call.
We talked a little bit the podcast before the Zach Black interview, and we kind of felt like the CAA was a super disappointment this year. So it's just hard for me to put any faith in Villanova really at all.
Yeah. I think if you were going to do something with this game is an over bet for me. The over's at 54.5, at least of what I'm looking at. And I would feel pretty confident in that going over.
I mean, Villanova lost to Maine by 28 points.
That's true.
Maine is not a good football team.
No.
That's kind of an inexcusable loss, really.
It definitely is.
So, I hate to be boring and go chalk, but I'm taking Incarnate Word, and it looks like the spread is sitting at 9, and I think I'd probably take them with the 9.
That does feel really safe after the game that Villanova played last week. It's not like they built a lot of momentum in that game.
No, they did not.
So I'd agree with you. Incarnate Word, I would take the points. I would eat the points, and yeah, I believe that offense is going to stick up to it. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored in this game, but I think that offense is going to be good enough.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, tough to tell because they haven't really been tested, but I just feel like Incarnate Word is going to throw the ball around the field, and they're probably going to get a couple big plays in the passing.
Most likely, yeah.
Yeah. You want to take Villanova?
No, I'm taking Incarnate Word as well.
Oh, come on, you're soft.
I by the skin of my teeth, I won that one last week, and I'm not doubling down on that bad boy.
Next up, Rhode Island at Mercer.
Okay. This one, the spread kind of surprises me on this one. What are you seeing for spread? Because I got 10.5.
10.5.
10.5 right here as well. That is pretty surprising. I thought of this as a closer matchup, maybe like a touchdown matchup. If you're giving me plus 10.5 with this roadie team, I think I'm definitely taking those points. I would take roadie plus 10.5 in this game. I don't know if I would have the moxie to do a money line bet on it. Like, I don't know if they're going to win straight up, but those 10.5 points are looking pretty juicy to me as far as Rhode Island goes.
I just have a tough time with Rhode Island. They're trotting out a backup quarterback that has a tendency to turn the ball over. And I know for a fact Mercer has 2 guys on their defense with 7 picks. I think both of them.
Damn.
So, I mean, we're talking about a team with 2 legitimate Buck Buchanan finalists on it. I just don't believe that a backup quarterback for Rhodey can go in there and stun Mercer. I think Mercer's probably going to handle these boys pretty easy. I'd probably lean the opposite of you. I'd probably take Mercer and eat the points.
Okay. I mean, that is very fair. The only thing I'd have to do a deeper dive into Rhode Island's games, but as far as I understand, it reminds me a lot of the way UC Davis operates, where they're in a lot of close games somehow. Like somehow, some way, they end up in a lot of close games, and that's why a double-digit point spread is showing me some signs of life. For the sake of parity, I might just straight up pick Rhode Island in this game. But that is very, very tough to make because, like you said, Mercer has an incredible defense. Like, they have shown themselves to be great defensively.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's my whole deal is I just feel like, that old adage, defense wins championships, and Mercer has the number one defense in the FCS.
Yeah.
I mean, I just have a hard time believing a quarterback that is turnover prone is going to go to the best defense in the FCS and tip them over.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like somebody who's going to have a good day. You are right there.
I mean, he threw 2 picks last week.
Yeah.
Against a partial scholarship school.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm gonna say Mercer wins, and I'd eat the points on that one.
I guess I'm gonna be soft. I'm gonna say Mercer wins, but I'm also taking Rhode Island plus 10.5.
Yeah, there
in
you
that
go.
game.
Attaboy, I like it. You got to have a little bit of difference of opinions.
Oh yeah.
Oh, next one. I feel bad for these guys. Abilene Christian going to North Dakota State.
Yeah, that's a tough day. There's not a whole lot to talk about in this one. Abilene Christian, as I brought up last week and probably put a little bit too much disrespect on their name, have had some very bad games this season. And if they decide to have a bad game like that against North Dakota State, we may see some playoff scores like we saw last year from NDSU against Drake.
It's definitely possible. I mean, they're going to have to go back and they're going to have to watch every second of film from that South Dakota game to figure out how South Dakota knocked them off.
Yep.
Maybe even go to that Eastern Tennessee game and figure out how Eastern Tennessee had so much success against NDSU.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like Abilene Christian is going to have to rely so heavily on this quarterback and their passing attack because, I mean, I very much doubt Abilene Christian's going to have any success running the ball on North Dakota.
I don't think we've seen many teams this year have any success against North Dakota State running the ball. And that Dakota Marker game was just an exhibition of how great two defenses can play. And after being shown a defense like that from North Dakota State, I just have no faith in Abilene Christian to even make this any type of game.
I don't either. I don't know. I mean, this quarterback for Abilene Christian, he is legit. Mm-hmm. Here's his stat line. 292 completions, 3,694 yards, and 29 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. You compare that to Cam Miller. Cam Miller only has 2,300 yards and 23 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
So the Abilene Christian kid, he can throw it, he can sling it, and I feel like that's what they're going to have to do.
Oh yeah, they're going to have to put up some yards through the air. I feel like that's the only way that you can eat into this North Dakota State defense at all. And I don't know any names, but I definitely think that their secondary is probably pretty legit. Like, it's not all the talent in that defense is on the line for sure.
Yeah, and I do know that Abilene Christian does have a receiver over 1,000 yards, which is fairly impressive. So, that's the only way Abilene Christian keeps this game close. They will not win.
Yeah, but
they could keep it close if they can find some success in the passing game. Mm-hmm. It's just really hard to believe. What are you seeing for a spread?
I'm seeing 24.5 for a spread here. Same here. Okay.
Yeah. So
I don't like the spread, honestly. Like, that is a lot of points to have to give up. This game feels like a stay away game for me because I don't I don't know enough about Abilene Christian's offense, like actually watching it in person or on TV. I don't know enough about them to be confident putting any kind of bet on them.
No, I totally agree with you. I wouldn't touch that spread. No way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
stay off.
There's high likelihood that, you know, NDSU is perfectly comfortable holding a 3-touchdown lead over these guys and just, you know, kind of holding them there.
Yeah. Vegas might know something that we don't know, though, looking through everything, because looking at all these games stacked up back to back, this game does have the highest over-under of any game in this round of the playoffs. So Vegas thinks that there's going to be some points put up in this game. If if this goes over 56, I think that North Dakota has to score at least 40 some.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Minimum.
I mean, if the over hits, I bet the spread hits too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I feel like if the over hits, it's going to be a blowout.
Mm-hmm.
Like for sure, blowout. Yeah. But yeah, there really isn't too much to talk about here, man. I mean, North Dakota State is, you know, they're a horse, and Abilene Christian is, you know, kind of new to this scene.
They're a fresh pony. They're not a full grown thoroughbred. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. They're no Montana State Bobcats. The horses.
No. That's a thoroughbred. Okay, that's Secretariat. All right, what's the next one? Do you have anything else for this game? It feels like there's not much else to talk about.
No, I'm good. Tarleton State at South Dakota.
Okay.
This is another one of those games, you know, Tarleton State tried to lose to Drake.
Mm-hmm.
This is their very first appearance in the FCS playoffs.
Yep.
South Dakota doesn't have a ton of success in the playoffs, but at least they've been here before. They kind of know what it takes.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't have any faith that Tarleton State knows what to do in this situation.
I think the Missouri Valley is going to flex their muscles on this game.
Yeah, I think so.
And it's going to kind of show that, not saying that Tarleton State are like frauds or anything like that. I just think that there's a difference when it comes to Missouri Valley or Big Sky. When you get into those top 3 teams, which South Dakota is, third best team in that conference, I think that that's worth a lot more than what Tarleton State has put up.
I mean, this is one of those games where, you know, Tarleton's they have that Kayvon Britton. Dude is an animal. Mm-hmm. And I feel like they're going to have to ride him to a victory here if they were going to win.
Mm-hmm.
But South Dakota has a really good defense.
Yep.
I mean, North Dakota State couldn't really run the ball on them. Why would Tarleton State be able to?
Mm-hmm. The only thing I can think of for Tarleton is that they kind of have a little bit of Furman energy, like last year's Furman team, where they were kind of coming in under the radar, a little bit overlooked as far as everything went.
Is they're purple?
Yes, I am, and I was. I mean, I am brain broken, and they are purple, and they seem like a very similar team to me. So, you know, that is like 50% of the argument.
Oh, that's
big
funny.
Furman energy, you know, the fur people. What is Tarleton State's mascot, by the way?
It's just a T.
Just a T.
Yeah. Tarleton State Tees.
The Tarleton Tees.
They're
the Texans.
Oh.
The Tarleton
weak.
State Texans, you know?
Weak.
I mean, yeah, we're the Montana State Montanans. Yeah, nobody would respect that.
The South Dakotans.
Yeah. I don't know. It 15.5 points is what I'm seeing for a spread here, and that feels a little bit heavy. You know.
I'm seeing 16.5 on ESPN.
Okay.
I don't love that, but I don't know. I mean, these are two teams. Once again, South Dakota has only really played. They lost to South Dakota State and they beat North Dakota State. So what do you take from that?
Yeah, it's tough to make a lot of judgments, but they are the only team in the country that's beat North Dakota State right now in FCS.
That's really fair.
So actually, now that we're talking about that, and that was brought back into my brain, I think South Dakota's going to win this game for sure. I might even take minus 16.5. South Dakota is a good team.
Yeah. I'm looking at their season scores, and they have put up over 40 points quite a few times.
Yeah.
Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times this season.
Oh, yeah. They are a solid team, for sure.
Yeah. They put up over 42 points, 42 or more points 7 times this season. So, yeah, I don't know, man. The more we sit here and talk about this game, the more I actually don't mind that spread.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We had to talk through it a little bit, but I think we both got to the same place on this game.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking that's probably a pretty safe bet. Tarleton is just they tried to lose to Drake, and South Dakota beat North
tried
Dakota
real
State.
hard.
That's all we need to say.
That's all you need to know. The transitory property of football means South Dakota is way better.
Yes.
We've seen how that's worked out for us before, but, sometimes you just got to go with it.
We're going to roll with it.
We're rolling. We're rolling hard.
Next up, Illinois State at UC Davis. And this is one that we need to start off by saying this is, first off, what are you seeing for a spread?
I'm seeing 8.5 points, and it is disrespectful.
Okay, so it has gotten a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
But when I first looked this up on Tuesday, that money line was minus 286 for UC Davis. That is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. I'm seeing FanDuel minus 280 on this game.
Oh, gosh, yeah, man. I mean, I don't even get that. I mean, UC Davis is a very good football team. Illinois State let SEMO hang around. Illinois State doesn't really have any real fantastic wins.
Yeah.
This is by far the best quarterback that they're going to play. Miles Hastings legit, and it's far and away the best running back they're going to play.
Oh, yes. That's what I was thinking. Is this game seems like the nationwide Land Larison coming out party.
Especially after he got snubbed in the Walter Payton.
Oh, yeah. That's very true.
I feel like Land the man's probably got a chip on his shoulder here.
I bet he does. And I am going to love to watch it against any team that's not Montana State. I am going to enjoy that thoroughly.
Yeah. I mean, if we're being totally honest, I'm not saying 8.5 points is, I mean, let's put it this way. I could see this being, UC Davis only scores 30 points.
Yep.
But still covers the spread.
Yep. They've got some dudes on defense that are not to be disrespected. I don't know a lot about Illinois State's offense, but to me, just what we have seen firsthand this UC Davis team do, I feel like they are being severely underrated by a lot of the national scene. And that includes betting organizations, and I don't know if these other conferences know about Land Larison or Miles Hastings.
I feel like they don't. And I'm looking at the passing stats. It's so different. I mean, their offenses, Illinois State doesn't pass the ball nearly as much. They also don't run the ball nearly as much.
Mm-hmm.
Miles Hastings has 1,100 more yards and 16 more touchdowns. Land Larison has 40 more carries, 200 more yards, and 3 more touchdowns. And he's also UC Davis's leading receiver.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know, man. We've talked about it before that, a lot of these teams that make playoff runs have stars, legitimate stars on them.
Yeah.
And UC Davis has Land the Man. He's a legitimate star. Miles Hastings is a really good quarterback. And a minus 286, I just don't see it. I felt all along that UC Davis would cover this easy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I definitely feel that way, too. I completely agree.
Also, the Big Sky's better than the Missouri Valley, and we're just going to prove it.
Yeah, that's what this game is about.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Yeah, I really feel like UC Davis is the better team, and they're going to prove it.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty easily.
Yep. Full agreement here.
Yeah. Would you take the points? Or
I'd take the points. Yeah, I'll go minus 8.5 for UC Davis. The only thing that scares me about it a little is, like I said before, UC Davis finds a way to make the game close.
Yeah.
Even when they're supposed to blow teams out, for some reason it's a close game. So 8.5 might be dangerous, but I really have a feeling that Land Larison is going to have one beautiful game this weekend.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Land has played a lot of different teams and always gets his. So it doesn't seem like anybody's been able to stop him. Why would Illinois State be the team?
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it is.
Yeah. Next up, we have Lehigh at Idaho.
Yeah.
I feel like this is one of the most lopsided games. Everybody likes to talk about Idaho and, kind of how they like to make games close or, let the Bobcats completely blow them out. But Idaho has been in the playoffs. They've had success in the playoffs. They know what it takes to be here. They're finally starting to get healthy, and Lehigh is a Pioneer League school. Yeah. They don't belong. I mean, if Idaho doesn't cover 14.5 is what I'm seeing, I'd be shocked.
Yeah, I would also be pretty shocked in that situation. Idaho's defense is still legit. Like, they've shown that they are not perfect and they have flaws, and they've had some stuff to work on throughout the season. But after Montana State, all they did was handle business. They've given us no reason to doubt them since that. Idaho is a very quality team. Lehigh, I really hope they enjoyed getting that playoff win last weekend because Pioneer League compared to Big Sky, this would be a very embarrassing loss if it did happen. I don't see it that way.
So Lehigh is a team that, they run the ball. That's their deal. They run the ball. That's how they beat Richmond last week. They had that long touchdown run at the end of the game, and that's what gave them the lead, and they ended up winning. So Idaho is supposed to be pretty good against the run. I mean, of course, that's not what we saw in Bozeman, but I feel like I would take Idaho's defense over Lehigh's running game.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, Idaho's run defense looked bad against the Cats, which is a complete anomaly, I feel like, as far as FCS football goes.
Yeah.
The only team that rushed as much as we did, I don't know, I can't even think of a team that made them look like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to make a case for Lehigh winning. I don't see it.
No.
I don't see anything around this game that would make me lean toward Lehigh, and them being good at running the ball is definitely not something I think that Idaho is even concerned about, really.
No, probably not. I think it's safe Idaho all the way. Point spread, everything.
I agree. Yeah, I'd take them. I'd take that minus 14.5.
For sure.
Next up, we have the dudes from over the hill traveling to Brookings, South Dakota to face the old Jackrabbits.
Dude, the meme posting by Grizz fans right now, I don't know where that confidence comes from. Can anybody explain to me where that kind of confidence comes from? Like, you're about to play against the 2-time defending national champions, and everything I'm seeing is rabbit season. That is stupid.
I lost you for a second.
Oh, okay. Am I back?
Yeah, I got you now.
Okay,
What did
good.
you just say?
I said that I think all of the rabbit season posting by Grizz fans is absolutely ridiculous.
My favorite one is the Monty Python with the little bunny rabbit sitting down in the cave.
Oh, yeah. That was very funny.
UM on all the guys standing there. That's a pretty good one.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That's the way I feel like this game is going to go. I know the Grizz do weird things in the playoffs, and they figure out how to win games, and Junior Bergen's going to have to take 4 punt returns for touchdowns for them to beat South Dakota State. That's all I'm thinking.
And see, I feel like here I go again. I'm trying to make any kind of case for the higher seed to not absolutely clean house. But I can't come up with it. I mean, the Grizzlies have shown complete ineptitude over the course of an entire season. Their defense is not good.
No.
Their offense is average.
Yep.
Gilman is not going to have a good day. I mean, South Dakota State can stop the run. They're just going to stack the box, and they're going to let their front four feast on whichever quarterback they decide to trot out. I feel like this game, in my own opinion, if South Dakota State just absolutely wrecks them, I mean, if this is a blowout, I would even say a blowout similar to what happened in Bozeman, something like that.
Yeah.
I could see that being so demoralizing for the Grizzlies that you could see some transfers.
Yeah.
For Montana to have a chance, Junior Bergen is going to have to be completely special. I mean, he's going to have to – special teams are going to have to probably score a couple touchdowns. I just don't see any other way. I mean, it's going to have to spark some life into the Grizzlies. I don't know if there's another way for them to win this game, to be totally honest with you.
Yeah, I think that's the only case. It's going to take some very, very special performances from Eli Gilman, from Junior Bergen, from every major player they have on that team is going to need to have a very special day if they have any chance against South Dakota State.
Yeah, it's I have this sneaking suspicion that it could be a really long day in Brookings.
Yeah, it definitely could be. That's a very fair assumption.
I mean, I feel like South Dakota State has just kind of gotten better as they put things together over the course of the season. I feel like they kind of got off to a bit of a slow start, but I feel like they're back to kind of being South Dakota State that we know and hate.
Oh, yeah.
And Montana has a very tall task ahead of them. The spread is at 21, and is that what you're seeing too?
Yeah, 21.5.
21.5. I'd probably take that, honestly.
I have a really hard time just because it is a playoff game, and this matchup doesn't feel as lopsided as like the North Dakota State Abilene Christian one.
Yeah.
That feels way more lopsided of a matchup to me. That's why I'm fine with like 24.5 in that situation. These two teams seem like they are closer in at least what tier they belong in, basically. So I would definitely lean towards not taking the spread, but I still think South Dakota State's going to win this game pretty handily.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not in love with the spread. I'd probably take it. What interested me a little more is the totals.
Yep.
That over under 47.5. I would probably take the over on that.
Over 40. Yeah, I feel like that's pretty safe. I mean, the Grizz offense has showed that when it wants to do something, it is going to bust for big plays. So they could sneak in some touchdowns here or there on big plays, and then all of a sudden a couple special teams plays, and the points are there for 47.5 for sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's really not a hard over-under to hit.
No, it's definitely not.
We know South Dakota State is going to score on the Grizzly defense. That is a fact.
Mm-hmm.
The Grizzly defense hasn't really been able to stop anybody all season long.
Yep.
They've been in a lot of shootout games, and I mean the Bobcats handled them pretty darn easy. So I don't know. I feel like the over is maybe the tastier bet than the spread on this one.
Definitely.
But yeah, South Dakota State's going to win, and I don't think that they're going to have a hard time doing it.
No, I completely agree.
But if Junior Bergen can score some special teams touchdowns and spark them a little bit, there's always a chance.
We are dealing with playoff Bergen here.
Yes.
Playoff Bergen is a different kind of Bergen.
Yes. That being said, I hate the Grizzlies, and I really want them to lose.
Yeah, South Dakota State's definitely going to win this game. It is not rabbit season. That's for sure.
Yeah, them old wabbits are going Gwizwee hunting.
Yeah, it's duck season for sure, not rabbit season.
Yeah. Enough of that. Let's talk about what everyone actually wants to listen to.
Okay. Let's go for it.
UT Martin at 470 feet above sea level is traveling to Bozeman at 4,800 feet above sea level. And they are not leaving until tomorrow night.
No. That's not a lot of time to make that transition.
It is not a lot of time. And UT Martin has a defensive line that consists of several guys well over 300 pounds. That's a lot of blood that doesn't have a lot of oxygen in it.
Yeah.
And they're going to be playing a team that bullies you all game long.
Yep.
I have this sneaking suspicion that after 15 minutes of football, there's going to be some guys on the UT Martin defensive line with their hands on their hips because they are sucking air trying to keep up with these guys.
Yeah, I mean, Montana State has crazy speed as well as the power and the strength that they have on the offensive line. The skill position players are so fast, you are going to be burnt out after a quarter of football against this team, especially the way they grind teams down with run after run. If they go to that type of game plan and they can get 6-7 yards per carry like we've been used to, they're just going to keep running at them. And they're going to have to take snap after snap trying to stop Scott Trey Humphrey. And that is not a fun day, I can imagine.
Yeah. You know, I don't think the weather's going to play any factor in this game. It's supposed to be pretty darn nice in Bozeman.
Yep.
You know, high 40s, maybe low 40s, somewhere in there. No snow.
Yep.
But I watched that Montana-Tennessee State game, and Tennessee State's defense was tired.
Yep.
UT Martin is going to, I mean, we're talking about a team that just literally runs it down your throat constantly.
Yep.
And we've seen it all season long where, you know, there have been a few teams that have been able to keep up to about midway through third quarter or so. And that's where the Cats take over. You know, they just don't, I don't think they have the talent, number one. And I don't think there's very many teams that are in as good a shape as the Bobcats are. I mean, these dudes they never stop.
Yeah.
They're going 100% for 4 quarters. And I feel like we talked a little bit with Zach about what the atmosphere in Bozeman is like. And when you get that crowd a rocking, when you're not used to it, I think this could be a long day for UT Martin boys.
Oh, yeah. And you look at this game, and honestly, the only thing that probably any Cat fan knows about UT Martin is the game they played last weekend.
Yeah.
So I'm going to use that as an example of their entire season. You look at that game they won last weekend, 5 different touchdowns scored rushing by 5 different players.
Mm-hmm.
Those gaps and those touchdowns are not going to be available against the Cats. The defensive line that we have, the way the defense has been playing throughout this entire season and the way they've grown throughout the entire season, they are not going to be effective on the ground. UT Martin's going to have to try and go to the air. And they have some effective players on offense. So I think that they could score a couple touchdowns in this game. Make it interesting for a minute. But I don't think that UT Martin's defense is going to be able to hang with the Montana State offense in any way.
No. And honestly, I feel like the Bobcat defense is the real key here.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think UT Martin can score points on the Bobcat defense.
I don't think they can score a lot, but I could see him scoring a little.
Let me put it this way. I am going to hammer minus 17 and a half.
Oh, yeah, that feels very safe.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be shocked if they don't win by 20. I mean, a win is a win. Love a win.
Mm-hmm. 1-0, Eric. Come on, we gotta have Vegan come on to get our expectations in line. We gotta focus on 1-0. 1-0.
Yeah. From what I've seen on the year, and the conversations we've had with a couple of the players, I just don't see how this game is close at any point.
Yeah, I don't. It doesn't feel that way to me. I know you have to give respect to UT Martin for the way they played last week, but at the same time, that looked like a team. That New Hampshire team looked like it would get the treatment that we gave Mercyhurst or Maine or one of those schools.
Yeah,
that's the caliber it looked like.
Even if Montana State comes out with a little bit of bye rest, some of the week to week execution that we've seen that is so good is not apparent immediately. I still don't see how this game comes out close.
No, it doesn't feel like it at all.
No. I mean, I'm loving the 17.5 points. I think that's, I honestly thought it would be a little bit more. I know I listened to Sam Herder's podcast, and he was a little surprised it wasn't higher. Yeah,
that did feel. I mean, I hate playing the comparison game all the time because I kind of do it a lot, but the spreads that North Dakota State and South Dakota State got feel legit for how good that team is, and it feels like Montana State should have a 20-some type spread like that.
I mean, if we've talked about all the games now.
Yep.
I do feel like UT Martin is maybe one of the better teams left standing. Let's put it that way.
They are quality. It is weird to have them matched up against the number 1 team in the country because it does feel like they are solid.
I think that I think the only one that might rival them would be the Grizzlies or maybe Illinois State.
Mm-hmm.
Those would be the two.
That feels similar. Yeah.
I think those would be the two that are similar, but I do feel like UT Martin kind of got hosed with this with the draw against the Bobcats. I really do. I think that they maybe should have been in a different part, just because I think they are a better team than a lot. But either way, UT. I don't see. If you're only giving yourself less than 24 hours to get ready for elevation.
Yep.
Not that we're at any crazy elevation, but it does count.
Oh yeah, definitely. It is a big difference.
I just don't see any way UT Martin is going to stand a chance against a team that is just going to punch you in the face over and over again until you just give up.
Yeah, that does feel very safe.
And it's all three parts. You have an offense that clicks on all cylinders. You have a defense that is number 3 in the entire country.
Mm-hmm.
You have Taco Dowler on special teams.
Yep.
And you have a lockdown kicker.
Who will also just breaking news real quick. We did get the follow from Money Miles Sandstead today. So
let's go.
There we go.
Let's go. Money Miles. The second leading scorer in the Big Sky.
Yep. 98 points, baby. 98 points. Money Miles.
Yeah. Yeah. This is going to be a fun game to watch.
Mm-hmm.
I would have your celebratory drinks ready before the game because I feel like it's pretty safe.
Yeah. You're
Normally I
be
don't
doing a lot
this.
of celebrating.
I try not to get this cocky, but yeah, I am. I'm
Just
going to be.
It. The
it's
one
happening.
week off from Bobcat football felt like an eternity. So honestly, I'm just excited to be another game because Cat Grizz feels like it was a month ago right now.
Yeah. 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 It does feel like it was forever ago, and I just can't wait to get back to some Bobcat football and honestly a whole slate of I will say this. When I was going to bring up a whole slate of FCS games.
Mm-hmm.
They stacked them all on top of each other.
Yeah, that did not help anything. The scheduling, I don't understand the way they schedule these FCS games.
It's very, very weird. You have Montana State 1 p.m. You have South Dakota State at noon. You have Incarnate Word at noon. You have Mercer at noon. You have North Dakota State at 1. You have South Dakota at 1, UC Davis at 2, and Idaho at 7.
You basically have to take your pick of which game you're going to actually decide to watch.
Yeah.
Because you can watch the first half of one of those 3 games that starts at noon. You can watch the majority of one of the 3 games that starts at 1 o'clock, unless you're going to do a 3-screen type situation, which I don't think ESPN Plus does.
No.
And then you have the huge gap until you get to that Idaho-Lehigh game. There's a lot of open territory there.
Yeah. I think my schedule will probably be the Grizzlies for an hour, then Bobcat football, and then watch Idaho, I guess.
Yeah. I guess I'll probably try and catch as much of UC Davis, Illinois State as I can, depending on how long the Cat game goes. But I am interested in watching that game. I think that's going to be a very entertaining one. Even if UC Davis pulls out ahead pretty fast, I still think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, I do too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's going to be a good Saturday. Can't wait.
Great Saturday. Always great to have a Saturday full of football. Yeah.
1-0, baby.
1-0. All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening. I believe you got anything else?
No.
No. Okay. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Go ahead and rank us 5 stars wherever you are listening to this at. Go ahead and check out that interview we just did with Zach Black if you haven't already. And go ahead and follow us on X or Instagram at CatsPod. Check us out on YouTube at The CatsPod. And we will see you guys this weekend after another glorious Catterday.
Adios.